Valeria in M&G Investment Company.
Hello people, today we are going to meet the inspirational women of M&G Investment Organization and we'll talk about their journey, the internal women book club and their mentor program.
Hi Valeria, how are you?
Hi.
Please introduce yourself.
Well, I'm the audit director here at M&G Investments. I've joined the organization in June last year.
Okay.
And we're talking today about the Internal Audit Women's Book Club, which I founded together with some colleagues in the market in November 2017, last year.
Okay, nice. So we have seen you working for many companies like Deloitte in Milan and everywhere. So how was your experience in this male-dominant world?
That's an interesting question, and I don't think I have an easy answer for you. But certainly when I started my career, there weren't as many women in the workplace. I've now been working for 15, 16, 18 years roughly. And the number of women at the top table has definitely increased. I would say for women the challenge is that of remaining themselves, while at the same time being effective and being seen as effective in a world where certain behaviors may be dominant.
Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Sharon. I'm Audit Director for Bupa Insurance in London. Okay, so when I started working in the city over 30 years ago now, it's a long time ago, there were not very many women. I started working for one of the big four, and there were no women partners at all. So, I think there's been a big change. I think what I've noticed is a lot more women generally in professional roles and a lot more women progressing further than I saw at the beginning of my career.
So since you said you're here in the city from last 30 years, so differences you have noticed at that point of time 30 years back and now, like the positive and the negative both sides?
I think the positive is the workplace is much more flexible, and I think that lends itself particularly to working mums. I think when I first started, you had to be at your desk at 8 and you couldn't leave before 7. And if you were a mother at that time, it's very difficult to work around a family with that. Now we're much more flexible for women and men. So, I think it's easier for family, and women particularly mothers to cope with a full-time job and a family. So I think that's why a lot of women have been able to progress, because before the choice was, well, I can't cope with that, so I'm not going to work, and they stayed at home a lot more. So I think that the opportunity is more for women now because of the flexibility.
I have seen in your profile, you basically so much involved into this integrity, maintaining the integrity, diversity and everything,
yes,
taking side along with you. So was it that difficult for you and the people who made you feel low down or something at any point of time?
I think the main challenge with that has been that for a number of years, individuals have tended to recruit people that were like them. And so the argument was you would either fit in a certain environment or you wouldn't, and there wasn't really the opportunity to explore what strengths somebody brings, even though they are different. And I'm pleased to see that in many organizations, not just in London or in the UK, but in other countries, the focus is much more on skills and abilities as opposed to likeness.
I'm Rachel, I work for Fidelity International.
Since you are a mentor and you are trying to help so many women here, so you must be reading their mindset, what they are going through, what problems they face, and how they are trying to cope up here. So what kind of personality and women these days are going through and have in comparison to the back, I would say like 5 years back or 10 years back?
I don't think it's really changed. I think women always have a lot of self-doubt, maybe not underconfident, and so it's really about exploring that a little bit more, and it's a lot about listening and helping to draw out some of these things. So for example, we're talking about, I've got one mentee and she's kind of looking at, okay, so what are my options for the future? It's like, well actually, what are those things in the past that you really enjoyed and why have you given up on those dreams? And let's kind of explore that a little bit more.
I think somewhere the point you said that they have this low esteem and they are very underconfident. So is it something because the man is ruling the world and somewhere they get so much affected by this and they are not able to achieve what they want to?
So I think something about generally a women's personality, right? So we do tend to be quite critical of ourselves.
Okay.
But clearly, especially in financial services, you know, it is quite a male-dominated industry, and I suppose, thankfully, there are more and more opportunities. But I suppose, you know, there is a question of putting yourself forward and just having the confidence to do that, and you know, so it takes a little bit of support, I think.
Introduce yourself.
Hi, so my name is Athena. I work here in M&G as a principal auditor.
Can you give a more insight about this mentor program, the M&G which runs, like how they teach people and what's their strategy and something like that, and your personal experience?
So M&G supports mentoring. We do have a program in place to find a mentor. But from my personal experience, I've experienced this through the Women's Book Club. So what it is basically, it's a network for women, as I said, quite informal. So we have our main 8 mentors here in Allies who are quite women quite senior in their positions.
Okay.
So they share their experience with people like me, less like senior at the beginning of their career. And we also have very important speakers that attend our events and inspire us and
Motivate.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Davis. I'm a PA at M&G Investments.
Okay.
I've been working here for about 7.5 years.
Can you just give us some more insight about this diversity agenda
Diversity
here?
and inclusion. So within M&G we have lots of different network groups, affinity network groups. We've got Pride, which is for LGBT, people that identify as LGBT, but also people who are allies of LGBT and
So since M&G investment is open to everyone, so a lot of people from different culture, from different background must be coming here and working together under
yes,
one roof.
Exactly.
So you must have seen their different mindset, the kind of psychology they have gone through and they are going, and how you deal with everyone in one roof, and the kind of awareness, and that if people some people may also feel that they are getting pressurized or they are not able to cope up in this environment. So how you deal with that through this mental awareness campaign and everything?
I think the affinity networks are when you raise awareness and you educate people about issues or how people may find if they have certain blockers in the workplace, how they might be experiencing things. People who don't face those problems get an understanding that they may not have identified before, and the more inclusive your environment, the more people feel they're able to contribute. And then you have, what's wonderful is you just have people from all different perspectives, walks of life, cultures, etc. That they can all contribute something different from their perspective, and I think that's the recipe for success, really.
I'm Valeria Locatelli. I work at Aviva, and I'm transitioning into roles, moving to a company called Europe Assistance.
You have also been into this networking thing. So can you give us a more insight about it?
Yes. So Valeria started the book club, and I think it's an amazing initiative. I think it was very, very much needed, particularly in this industry in the city. I think it's good on a lot of levels. It's a women's network essentially, and I think it serves as an area where people have a safe place that they can discuss and exchange either about their personal situations, interacting with women who may have faced similar challenge of balancing their family life with their responsibilities. So trying to juggle that, it's useful to speak in a safe environment with people who've been in a similar situation. It's also a place where people can have role models and people to look up to, and there are not that many senior women in this industry, and that provides a place where we're lucky Valeria's put together a good group of women to
So this networking program, it is just for M&G investment people, or other women from different sectors and different corporate can also join?
No, it's a women in audit. So
Okay.
you have women from M&G. You have I've been in Aviva joining that. We have women for lots of different companies that are participating in this event. So it's sort of an after work, and it provides a place where women can also network, which women tend to have a tendency to do a bit less of networking than men do. They tend to go a bit less to the pub after work, etc. They often have family obligations, they go home. So this actually provides an occasion to make the time for it and then to interact. And you can get insight on personal challenges from others who face them. You can interact with women from other companies, and it can also be a very useful down the road, valuable network of people to maintain contact with.
What a great effort from your company. I really appreciate this thing. Any particular mentor who helped you a lot in this process, or like you are grateful to that, or yeah, you have learned something from that particular person, and that experience have made have brought a big change in you, something like that in your life or in your career?
So you within the network?
Yes.
Within the network, it's been going for a recent period. So it's starting off, but it's already been able to help me. So as I mentioned, I'm transitioning jobs, and as I was in that process, I was able to speak to a few of the women and in confidence told them this is what I'm thinking of doing. I'm in a situation where I've got 2 opportunities to ping ideas. That I'm moving location as well. So what are the implications for my family? How am I going to cope with this new role, which is a lot more senior? And I've actually had a lot of women who've provided me insight, talked about their experience when they moved. One of them in a similar cross boundaries, cross country move, and that's been really useful.
Yeah, that motivates the other person more. Learning from each other and helping them out in this. That's a very good. I just hope things like this work in India also. Thank you. Thanks a lot.